Welcome to yet another episode. Welcome to this next episode of Why I Like These Books. These are videos that nobody watches, and so I just have a good time making them, and I'm shouting them out into the void, and without any hope that anyone is ever going to hear it. This episode will be called WILTP, or Why I Like This Play, because I'm going to be reviewing Oleanna, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, by David Mamet. And this talk will be about a play, not about a book. It's about the conflict that arises when a college student, Carol, questions her professor, John, about her low grade in his class. The conversation starts out nice, but soon devolves into an airing of grievances, and this all happens in John's office. Eventually, Carol accuses John of using his authority and power to act in an untoward manner toward herself and her female classmates. I won't ruin the end of the play, but I can safely say, without giving too much away, that it has a very dramatic conclusion. So why should you care? Well, maybe you shouldn't. I don't want to tell you what to think, but I think this play is cool because it explores so many interesting concepts. So you have the value of higher education, the imbalance of the power between the sexes, the sometimes hypocritical notion of academic freedom, stuff like that. It just gets me all excited. Some things I found interesting about the play. John, the professor, is granted the license to criticize education, which he does in a rather long-winded way, because he has been elevated to a position of immunity. He's in his ivory tower complaining about the brickwork. But the safety, the distance, the privilege he thinks he has comes crashing down when his motives are questioned. His sage on the stage routine is exposed as something less than edifying. His student, Carol, sort of plucks his academic plumage, and he is stuck in the unforgiving, harsh stage light that was, up to that point, sort of appealing to him. John wanted attention. He preened and he strutted like a bird of paradise, and I apologize for all of the foul language. But when the attention paid to him changes from awe to scrutiny, the hypocrisy of his actions are laid bare. There's this motif of the imprecision of language in the play. John often uses big words that Carol has a hazy understanding of, and when asked to define them, John does so, but in a condescending way that makes Carol angry and asks him why he didn't choose an easier, less complicated word. This motif advances the notion that there is a power imbalance between the two, but it also highlights the difficulty of being heard by someone who does not think, speak, or act like you. The conflict in the play is large scale. It is a societal battle of the sexes, but it is played out in intrapersonal conflict. The teacher-student imbalance of power is used almost as a metaphor for the imbalance of power that exists between women and men. John and Carol butt heads while trying to butt into the conversation. They each want the other to see things as they see them, to be understood. So there's a striving for a consensus that is all the time being undermined by the imprecision of language to a lesser extent, and the failure of empathy to a greater extent. Of course, this entire video is supremely ironic because I am, in a sense, embodying all of the less than helpful behaviors John is guilty of. I'm mansplaining. I'm being altogether too clever and self-aware. I'm acknowledging the difference in power that men and women hold while not really implicating myself as being guilty of its perpetuation. But I hope you can look past all of that, or if you can't, you can call me out on it and say, as Carol does to John, that you learned nothing from this video and that my motives were just to show off. I read the play, but perhaps failed to note how the play was reading me. Because if you make that point, then you might be right. So this has been another episode of WILTP, normally WILTP, Why I Like This Play, about Oleanna by David Mamet. Thanks for watching. Bye.